All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming on our panel for how we move beyond manipulation and burnout to find balance. My name is Shaina Selvaraju. I am a social innovator of a company called RainCheck in the leadership lab right now. And yeah, I'll be one of the panelists and the moderator for this. So I'm going to have the panelists introduce themselves. Tia, do you want to start us off?
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone, or morning or evening, wherever you are. My name is Tia Dodd. I am a Howard University 2018 graduate. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm currently working as a software DevOps engineer with the National Basketball Association. And I'm also a mindful technologist and CEO of TenaciousU, where we move people from a space of overconsuming back to creating content that is powerful and purposeful and worthy of being consumed. I'm excited to be here with you all today.
Hi, I'm Sam Micio, co-founder and partner at What's the Move Incorporated, creators of the nightlife social media app Slide. I am a senior finance student and equity research analyst at the University of South Florida. I'm originally from New York and currently live in Tampa, Florida, and I'm very excited about this panel.
Thank you for introducing yourselves. So I guess to just start off with some of our personal experiences with social media and sort of why we're having this conversation. Sam, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So a couple of years ago, I was using Instagram every single day. I originally joined so that I could share photos that I took of different places I traveled to. One of them even got used in an article by I Love New York, so it was very exciting when it started, but eventually things changed. I realized that really sharing interesting photos was not what Instagram was about at all. Things got particularly toxic in mid-2020. It seemed like literally every conversation was a political discussion with someone trying to earn points from one group or another. No matter their political affiliation, it was the same stuff. I got to a point where I said, I cannot ignore this. I cannot have this in my life anymore. Using Instagram is not positive for me or anyone around me. And so I deleted the app. Months went by. I found myself happier, healthier, more relaxed, and having a lot more fun. Now, I've heard the concern that deleting social media would result in missing out on something good. Well, since I deleted Instagram back in July 2020, I have missed out on 0 events, 0 gatherings with my friends, 0 important information. What I have missed out on is an array of toxic political commentary, women being reduced to how well their friend can take a picture of them in a swimsuit, and the anxiety that I wasn't posting the right thing at the right time for the right people. Instead, I've traveled to over 100 cities, co-founded a fraternity, completed several internships, spent quality time with friends and family, and of course, been able to work with LookUp.live. The new rule that I live by regarding technology is I ask myself, does this improve my life or the lives of others? And if not, I get rid of it. I recommend that everyone else do the same. I think you'll feel a lot better.
Thank you for sharing that. Tia, do you have any stories that you want to share as well?
Absolutely. First off, wow, Sam, that is a very interesting story. You said so much there. And I definitely can relate to a lot of what you were feeling, especially during 2020, the whole political situation that was going on online. And, there's still remnants of that today. I'm wondering, because I felt similarly. I felt almost this pressure to join what I would call the woke Olympics. You have to get online and talk about how educated you are, or how well versed in politics you are, and why your opinion is the better one. I'm wondering, how did the political aspect of social media and just the polarization of that, how did it affect you mentally, to the point where you decided to give up the app altogether?
Well, something that I noticed is when you're having a political discussion with somebody online, it's very exciting in a way. It's like there's an adrenaline rush, you know? But you realize ultimately, after you're wasting hours and hours of your life doing this, there's nothing good coming out of it. You know, there's usually, I mean, very rarely do you ever get to any solution. It's just people getting angry, thinking that we're heading towards more of a civil war or something. It's crazy just how upset with each other people get, and it's unnecessary.
Yeah, that's very true. I've noticed that when it comes to politics and social media, you're either pushed to one extreme or another. There's hardly any room for middle ground anymore, because a point of view that you share that says, "Hey, I see both sides," is not going to get the attention. It's not going to get the likes. It won't be um, as well circulated as an extremist type of an opinion. So I definitely understand that. So thank you for sharing a little bit about myself and my own digital wellness journey. So I started back in 2018. I was a student in computer engineering. It was my senior year at Howard University. And I started to get into the industry and get into internships and understand how we as technologists create our applications to be addictive to a certain extent, and to manipulate people to want to use the app more, and to spend most of their time tapped in with us. And how can we create these triggers and these little things that make people spend their time here. And so as I started to learn all the little manipulation tactics that we use in technology, I was also looking internally at my own life and my own lifestyle, where I was hooked on social media, but I was also unhappy. I had a lot of posting anxiety, as you would say, Sam. Am I posting the right thing for my audience? Am I going to get enough likes? So I just stopped posting altogether. And instead, I started scrolling mindlessly, which for me was a form of avoidance from doing my schoolwork. And I noticed that in myself, that when I didn't want to do my work and then when I didn't want to be productive, I would just scroll. And so I turned around my habits. I did all the things. Okay. I went on detoxes. I was extremely disciplined with myself. I set my screen time on my phone and I stuck to it. I even went out and got a real alarm clock so that I wouldn't be using my phone the first thing that I woke up in the morning. Um, and so I redeveloped my morning routine without socials, created this mindful morning where I was meditating and listening to positive videos. I cleaned up my timelines. So trying to reshape the algorithm that had been created for me, muting certain words, unfollowing and blocking certain accounts, and following and liking things that I felt would be positive for me. And I told everyone that I knew and everyone that would listen about how my privacy, my productivity, my peace, and my personal growth have just grown so much from doing that. And I was doing better and better. And over the months, I started to realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm doing well here. Is this digital wellness? I'm digitally flourishing right now. And I felt good about it. There was also this part of me that felt a little bit righteous, like, I'm the only one at this table, not on my phone. You guys get off of your phones, And I noticed that started to get annoying for some people. And then in 2020, everything sort of changed for me, which I'm sure it did for a lot of people when the world stopped, when the pandemic hit. And we were forced inside into our homes. And I won't lie, I was even doing well then. I was like, okay, I enjoy being alone and I'm still keeping up with my habits. And then boom, I lost two very close family members during that time. And it sent me to a place that I had never gone before, a dark place, a negative spiral. And it totally changed the way that I interacted with my phone. I was stressed, I felt anxiety, and honestly, I was downright depressed. And even when my friends started to hang out again, I was still fearful of going out because of those things that I had experienced. And so I felt FOMO, fear of missing out. And trust me, I was the one on social media saying, JOMO, experience joy of missing out, be happy with yourself, be happy doing nothing. And I started to feel like a fraud because I couldn't adhere to the digital wellness standards that I had set for myself. And so that led to what I would call to be digital wellness burnout. And I want you to, if you're available in the chat, to type a Y, drop a Y for yes, if you've ever felt this way before. You understand what you should be doing to be digitally well or digitally flourishing. You've been there before, but you fell off the bandwagon. You find yourself, after going on a break from social media, binging on social media. You can't stop yourself from scrolling. You're declining your app limits. It comes up and you say ignore for 15 minutes. But then beyond that, you just start saying ignore for today if you have an iPhone, right? That's what I was doing. You start procrastinating on the things that you actually really want to do in life. And more than anything, you're just consuming more than you're able to create. You may be a creative person and you want to put really positive things out there into the world, but there's this anxiety stopping you. You're comparing yourself to others and you're getting in your head about it. Those are symptoms of what I would call digital wellness burnout. But the news is good. I'm here to tell you is that you can get back. You can get back on track. And I have 3 simple and easy tips for you. Well, simple, maybe not easy tips for you to get back on track when that starts to happen to you. And these are things that I've done that have really, really worked for me. And I wanted to share them here today. Number 1 is to reset your intentions. So your goals in life are going to change. They're going to change all the time. My why now may not be the same as what my why was 6 months ago. So reevaluate what you want out of your life and do so often. And remember what it felt like when you were flourishing and start to ask yourself, what will it feel? What will make me feel that way again? So resetting is totally okay to do. You can reset every month. You can reset every day if that's what you need to do. Find inspiration. That's number 2. You might want to attend a conference like this. I can tell you right now that I've been so re-inspired by coming here over the past few days, just being around individuals who prioritize digital well-being and giving me new ideas that I can still learn from. Even as a digital wellness advocate, you can constantly learn from other people's experiences. Finding a buddy or positive social media influences that are online. If you're having trouble breaking through the previous algorithm that you had and you can't find those positive influences online, make a Finsta. That's okay. And be transparent on your Finsta. And maybe that'll invite other people around you to do the same. Another way that is really good for finding inspiration is seeking help. And you can do that through finding a life coach or a therapist. That changed my life. Therapy changed my life. Mental health is real. And the way that your mental health is typically directly corresponds with the way that your overconsumption of social media and technology is. So seek help, find inspiration. And lastly, and this is the most important thing, is to forgive yourself. Because you're human, And your journey is not going to be linear. It's not like you start here and then you're getting better, better, better. And then you're like, yes, I'm where I want to be in life. I'm just going to stay here. You know, I wish it were like that, but in reality, it's going to fluctuate day to day, month to month. And it's okay to not always be in the best space that you want to be in. And yeah, those are my 3 tips to reset back from digital wellness burnout. So I hope that those help.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I 100% agree with forgiving yourself because I think a lot of people, they use their best self as their goal. They use that as their ideal. Like, this is me at my peak. This is what I want to be. But the truth is, we can't always be at our peak. And it's learning to accept that you are going to have low points in your life. It's not always going to be good. And just realizing, like, okay, this is where I'm aspiring to go again. But it's okay that right now things aren't the best. I can't use the plan I already have in place. Certain experiences have changed me, or certain experiences are preventing me from doing what I always do. So being flexible with yourself and allowing yourself to discover other methods, to be lenient with yourself and just saying like, this is what I can do today and that's okay. And I think this sort of transitions to a question we had in the chat, like, how do you integrate social media into your day-to-day life? And if you are a social media addict, it's not going to be I'm just going to stop and that's it. Like with dieting, we talk about not yo-yo dieting. You can't just stop because the moment you incorporate something back into your diet, you're just going to binge again. So it's a very mindful and thoughtful process of, as Tia was saying, what do you want in your life? If it isn't to spend all your time on social media, how do you get yourself to limit yourself? Like, what are your motivators? And these motivators are going to change constantly. And I think sometimes, like, this is a term I use, which is like binge motivating. Like, I find something, it keeps me going for a really long time, and then suddenly the fuel runs out and I need to find something new. And that's okay. But you need to take an active approach and just make sure, like, you keep finding yourself motivators, keep finding yourself things that will keep you on track. And as I said, it's a very slow and mindful and thoughtful process. If you want to have a more balanced lifestyle, that's just something you're going to have to actively do. And the key word there is active. And it's kind of like any other habits and things you want to build in your life. And someone asked, are motivators the same as intentions when it comes to using social media? And I personally would say no, because intentions are like, this is what I'm using social media for, or this is what I want to get out of it. And motivators are kind of those things where, like, the things you use to stop yourself. Like, I have X, Y, and Z to do today, and I can't spend all my time on social media. So this is the reason why I'm only going to use it for 20 to 30 minutes today, etc. So those things are changing on a daily, but I feel like intentions have to do more with your life goals. I don't know if anyone else wants to comment or respond to that.
Could you repeat the question for me, please?
Yeah, someone asked, like, are motivators the same as intentions when it comes to using social media?
Okay, yeah. So I would say that an intention comes from a deeper purpose that you have, a deeper purpose that you see for yourself, for your future, um, for your spirituality, if you practice that. Um, whereas, a motivator, your intention could be a motivator, honestly. But sometimes I like to give myself different motivators that will get me closer toward my intention. So for example, rewarding myself after a certain amount of time of not looking at my phone and totally focusing in on my task. Okay, so if I spend an hour or so on my work, then I'll take 10 minutes to just sit outside, because I think that sitting outside and soaking up the sun is something that really helps me, and it helps me to flourish and feel good. So setting different motivators for yourself for when you are getting closer toward where you want to be can definitely help.
Kind of going off of that, you can think of like an intention as a goal, and sometimes the like belief in wanting to achieve that goal is enough. But if that isn't enough, those motivators are like the little tools and steps that you give yourself to power yourself through. But yeah, and does anyone else want to share anything on this topic, or I can move on to burnout?
I think something really motivating is when you create something for yourself, where you plan something for yourself in the future, like a trip that you're going to go on or something, and then you look forward to that and you say, well, I want to feel really good when I'm on that trip. So from now until the time I'm on that trip, I'm going to stay away from things that are going to make me feel worse.
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of transition back into having balance and discuss some of my own experiences. So I know Sam and Tia talked about their experiences with digital well-being. I never really was a social media fanatic, so my issue actually came in the form of overall work-life balance. And I guess to take you to the beginning of my journey, um, during COVID, I started feeling like I missed out on a lot of opportunities, just things I wanted to do. And as time went on, I realized a lot of the things I wanted to do, I could have done before COVID hit, but I missed out because I kept putting them off. So when I started looking at why I kept putting things off and started talking to my peers, we kind of realized like for some it's procrastinating on social media, for others they're very career oriented, so kind of how we were talking about finding this balance between social media and life, there's also another side of this where we have to find a balance between work and life. So obviously we have our work and career goals, um, but I think a lot of people in college, they tend to sort of let go of things they like or things they're passionate about to achieve career success. And I always say that when you're not pursuing your passion, you're kind of missing out on getting to know a part of yourself because you're so focused on the future that you're not giving care to what you like right now. And those things matter because those are the motivators to get through life. So yeah, I guess I graduated in August, and I spent my senior year actively trying to do everything I can. I really can't dance, but I joined the dance team because it was something I always wanted to try. And maybe I can't dance, but it was a fun experience. And I think had it not been for that realization, I wouldn't have tried these things. Me starting a company, like I always talked about it with friends and stuff, but I never thought like I could actually do it. And then I just went ahead and did it. So, I think it's really important to realize that your life isn't just your future. There are things to enjoy right now, and you don't have to give up yourself for your career because that just leads to burnout and overall unhappiness. And the burnout age is actually getting younger and younger. And as I mentioned, these habits are things we develop in college where you become more career oriented, academic oriented, and these carry on into the workforce, and we just end up, doing our 9 to 5, and afterwards it's the Netflix binging or the social media binging, but we're not really taking quality time or making time for those activities that we really like, so in our social lives or in our personal lives. So yeah, I think one thing I just wanted to put out there is that it's really important to give time to yourself. It's really important to prioritize yourself, and it's really important to find your passions, and be really in tune with yourself. Um, But yeah, so I
Absolutely.
guess that was my quick like
No,
yeah, go ahead.
absolutely. I really love that you said that your life is not just your future. That just spoke volumes to me as a person who is very type A and can spend a lot of time planning. there's a lot to be said for allowing your creativity to just flow in the moment. And like you said, even if you may not feel like dancing comes as naturally to you, the more that you invest into your creative self, the more confidence that you can get in your work life, honestly, or in other aspects of your life. And when you talk about, finding that balance of yourself and not giving yourself up for work, I think that one thing that can really help in that area is stop compartmentalizing who you are. When I was doing that, I realized exactly how draining it was for me to put on this certain face of myself at work and come home and try to be and unleash the real me, because I felt like I was being so suppressed, and that can become very limiting. And what I realized is that you can actually be missing out on connections in your everyday work life by not speaking your dreams. You never know the people that are around you who can speak life into you and lead you closer to what it is that you're passionate about, and what it is that you will find fulfilling in life. I know that a lot of the times we don't feel like our work is our passion, and that our job is, something that we absolutely love. And that's okay, because you can find things that you absolutely love in every day at your job and in your career. And those things, if you dive into them more deeply, can open up so many doors for you and lead you to a more fulfilling lifestyle. So absolutely agree with that.
I just want to make a quick, oh, sorry. I just want to make a quick follow-up to that. A lot of people also don't stick to the same career that they did in college nowadays. It's becoming more and more common. So I think people are passionate about their work, but it's okay for those passions to change too. And a part of discovering balance is realizing that your passions do change, your interests do change as you grow as a person. So if something changes, go ahead and accept that change and continue making sure you are passionate about something in your life, and that it's not just work, and there's something giving you a drive rather than you feeling like you just have to do something for the sake of doing it. But yeah, Sam, go ahead.
I think that an important thing is not thinking about your life in a way that makes it feel like once you get to a certain point in the future, then you're going to be happy. I feel like a lot of people do that. And if you ask some really successful people, even people who are billionaires, they'll tell you that some of the happiest times in their lives were when they were not massively successful and when they were working towards being successful. So you really have to enjoy what's going on right now, because down the road you're not necessarily going to be happy just because you reached that goal. You have to make sure that you're passionate about what you're doing right now. I think that's really key in a lot of things.
100%. And that's where that present moment mindfulness comes into play. I went to a meditating class once, and she said something that really stuck out to me. A lot of the times our minds are doing this swinging like a pendulum from future to past. And a lot of the times when you think about the past, you become depressed about things that happen, and you can harp a little bit too much on what could have been or what would have been and what should have been. And then when you swing forward to the future, you can start to get anxiety and feel pressure and stress about what needs to be and what you should be doing. But when you find yourself right in the middle, in that present moment awareness, that's where you find peace, and that's where you find happiness. Happiness isn't some arbitrary point in the future. Happiness can only be found in the present moment.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, I think a lot of people have this connotation that your success comes from your career, but I think finding happiness is also a form of success, and a form of success that we need to acknowledge more, not necessarily just happiness, but your well-being as a whole, because we don't tend to prioritize mental health. But if your mental health is in great condition, or you're actively working towards it, and each day you're doing better, that is something to be proud of, and that is another way to measure your success by. And I think redefining what success means to us is also really important, because it's not just your career. You work for a living, you're going to retire. That's not what's driving you every day. There are other things. For some people, it's family. For some people, it's hobbies, but you can have success outside of career, and I think it's important to acknowledge that, and also just acknowledge that you can find happiness in the process as well, as Sam was saying. So I know we are finishing soon, so Sam and Tia, if you have any final thoughts, and then maybe we can talk about how we ourselves are addressing the problem.
Sure, really quickly, just to tag on to the end of what you said. I know that productivity is something that I've started to sort of see from a different lens. Productivity isn't necessarily just the work that you're getting done and the things that you're ticking off of the checklist, right? And your worth is not tied to your productivity. This is something that I've had to beat into my own head, is that your worth is not set by how much you accomplish today or by the achievements that you get out of life. Your value is set for you simply by the fact that you are alive. The fact that you are here another day is the achievement, and that was productive. So congratulate yourself just for that.
Sam, if you want to share some of your final thoughts, and then maybe go ahead and share how your company is also trying to solve this issue.
Sure. So I think so far it's been a great discussion. We've hopefully, some of you who are watching can take these ideas home with you and apply some of them and see what works for you. Not everything's going to work for everybody, but I hope that we've helped you out in some way. I'm going to talk a little bit about what my company is doing. So my company, What's the Move, are the creators of the new app Slide, which comes out October 31st. Slide is an app designed to be basically the ultimate app for enjoying nightlife in the real world. Unlike other social media apps, Slide's goal is for everyone to have a fun and safe partying experience away from social media. Couple things about it. It gives detailed insight into current conditions of each place you might want to go, includes a messaging feature so you can easily meet up with your friends, and an easy to use payment system. So you will no longer need Facebook, Instagram, or any other app to have a successful and fun night out with your friends. We're really hoping that this can bring people together away from their phones and that everyone can have a great time.
Thank you so much for sharing. That sounds like a great idea, and I hope everyone does check out your app on the 31st when it launches.
I'll drop the website in the chat.
That would be great. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and share some about TenaciousU.
Yeah, first of all, Sam, that's awesome. And I will definitely be checking it out. So TenaciousU was founded in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we break down digital wellness into 3 different categories: productivity, peace, and personal growth. And we provide community gatherings where we focus on detaching from your device and reconnecting to the divine. We help people to remove the mental barriers that stop you from being tenacious. First, you have to identify what those barriers are in your own life that causes you to go toward your triggers. And so we allow you to do that and then get to the root of who you are and what your spiritual purpose is in life, what it is that you connect with. And that doesn't have to be one purpose, it can be many purposes. But I truly believe that once you work on that layer, all of your habits will reform as a result, including your digital well-being habits.
Thank you so much for sharing. So yeah, my company RainCheck was developed at the University of Connecticut with my co-founders Nicole and Jenny. And the question that we ask ourselves is, how do we make work-life balance more convenient and more accessible? Because I think for most people, it's very hard to sort of incorporate that time for themselves. And what we created is, to put it simply, the HelloFresh of hobbies, which is so basically we're a subscription box service that introduces a new hobby each month. And you would basically receive this box and it has the necessary materials to start a hobby. And there'll also be like a group call where you meet with 4 other 5 members and you sort of do an activity with them. So for example, if it's painting, you'll receive like 3 canvases and some prompts to deal with the group, and as well as a basic video to sort of introduce the concept of it. And rather than, learning the hobby full-fledged, it's just meant to be an enjoyable experience where you can socialize while learning the basics. And, it's a scheduled 1-hour session and you get some other materials to practice throughout the month. And the goal is that, because it's conveniently packaged for you, you don't have to make the monetary investment or the time investment into a hobby. You'll be more motivated to sort of pick this up. And you're not committed to one hobby either. You get to sample a few. And, it's just meant to be an enjoyable experience so that you can sort of learn how to incorporate that balance into your lifestyle. And we call it RainCheck, our company RainCheck, because we want you to not put things off to tomorrow and start doing things today. And I think that can be said in general. Your well-being should not be put off until tomorrow. If you want to improve it, you got to start taking actual steps today. And yeah, I hope you got some from our today. Thank you everyone for coming this afternoon. And yeah, we hope you the best of luck on your more balanced journey.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Just jumping in here, thank you so much for this fabulous conversation. And I did put in the chat, but those of you who are inspired, especially by what Shaina and Sam and Tia have created, LookUp has 2 opportunities. In the US for university students, the lookup.live/startup, which is our LookUp Startup Innovation Challenge, to bring forward your solutions for a healthier, more ethical and inclusive digital world. And then those of you in the UK, an amazing speaking opportunity to work with AGL communication and become a more authentic and charismatic social activist. And that is at lookup.live/United Kingdom. And I thank you so much. We're going to do a wrap up at the top of the hour in about 15 minutes. And please stay connected. All of the recordings will be available on our website. And please keep moving forward with this movement because it is so, so important. So thank you, and we'll see you soon.